You can see why that's one of our favorite weekends of the year. And so, man, everything that you do to be a part of this church, man, that's visible life change right there. And so, thank you guys so much for being here. I realize with the rain, some of you got rebaptized when you walked into our church, and so I appreciate you fighting through that. We are starting a brand new series called Meaningless. And for the next several weeks, we're going to be walking through this really cool book in the Old Testament called Ecclesiastes and finding meaning in your life and in mine. Now, my guess is most of you are like me, and that in the summertime especially, about once a week, I mow my yard. I mow it, I weed eat it, I edge it, I blow it, and it looks really great, and I'm very, very happy for 2 days. The day I mowed it, and then the day afterwards, and the next 5 days, it's just dread. I've got to do it over again. And it feels like almost like Groundhog Day, where you just go, I got to do it again, and I got to mix the oil and the gas and put weed eater string and all these like things that I'm going to do it, and then 7 days later, I've got to do it again and again. It happens over and over and over again. The same is true with cleaning our house. Now, Brianna has been in Texas since Friday morning. She comes back this afternoon, and I'm so happy, but she's been there for a wedding. So I've had all 4 kids, and I've got a front row seat to see how messy 4 kids make a house. So we clean the house, and y'all, with 4 kids, I'm not making this up, it lasts about 7 minutes. Amen, yeah. And you leave, and I come back, I'm like, what happened? They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, there's just dishes everywhere. And they're like, well, we have to eat and drink. And I'm like, from now on, use a water hose outside. So it happens, you clean it happens over and over again. And I share that with you because sometimes, if you may not be honest with me, but if you're honest with yourself, life feels that way. Like we do all of these things, and just things in life, not necessarily bad things, but just things. You wake up and you go to school, you go to work, you go to the gym, you go to the movie theater, you go to church, you go to small group, you have vacations, you got to buy a car, you got to sell a car, you got to roll in college, you graduate from college, you switch jobs, you fly here, you have Thanksgivings, you have Christmases, and at times it feels like you just do the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again. And the weeks turn into months, and months turn into years, years into decades, and all of a sudden a lifetime passes. And it's easy to ask the question or wonder the question, what is the point? It feels that sometimes we just seem to do the same things over and over and over again. And again, you may not tell me you think this, or you may not even tell the person who's sitting next to you think this, but there's at some point where all of us have gone, what is the point of this? What is the meaning behind this? And if you've ever asked that, or you've ever thought that, you are in fantastic company. A guy named King Solomon wrote the book of Ecclesiastes that we're going to be looking through over the next several weeks. King Solomon was the son of King David. David and Goliath, you may know about him. This was his son. Now, the scripture tells us that when Solomon was king, nobody was as wise, as wealthy, or as powerful as King Solomon was in his time. I mean, when it came to money, wealth, influence, he literally could do whatever he wanted to do. So when I say wealth, or even I say opulent wealth, like crazy wealth, you probably think yacht or a private jet or a big mansion on the hill. Whatever your thought process is of wealth, if you told that to King Solomon, he would go, oh, that's really sweet. Oh, you and your little yacht. Yeah, I own a fleet of ships. Oh, you're in your mansion. Yeah, just one of my mansions is 3 stories tall with 45 rooms. He would get billions and billions of dollars of gold brought into him. So when it came to life, success, whatever he wanted to do, Solomon, he wins. He was literally king, could do whatever he wants. And he writes Ecclesiastes more than likely near the end of his life. And you're going to see that he goes through life trying everything, and he comes to the end going, what's the point? It feels a little blah. It feels a little meaningless. And so this whole series is, how do you find meaning in your life? How do you find purpose? How do you find fulfillment? If you got a Bible, grab it. Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 1. If you don't have a Bible, they'll certainly put it up on the screen. Ecclesiastes chapter 1. This is King Solomon as he's writing and just some things that he's learned. Chapter 1, verse 1. These are the words of the teacher, King David's son, who ruled in Jerusalem. Everything is meaningless, says the teacher, completely meaningless. I don't know if you want to write a book or not, but man, I would not start off your brand new book with that. What's the point? That's what you're just going, everything's meaningless. Look at verse 3. What do people get for all their hard work under the sun? Generations come, generations go, but the earth never changes. The sun rises and the sun sets, and then hurries around again and again. The wind blows south, and then it turns north, and around it goes, blowing in circles. Rivers run into the sea, but the sea is never full. Then the water returns again to the rivers and flows out again to the sea. Everything is wearisome beyond description. No matter how much we see, we're never satisfied. No matter how much we hear, we are never content. Because the same things happen over and over and over again. And it almost sounds like Solomon is living in 2019. We say, well, we live in this world of extreme, of all the too much. Solomon goes, yeah, no, I can relate. I've been there, done it. It happens over and over and over again. Things come and things go. Things never really change. And so Solomon goes, I've tried a few things, and let me tell you what I've experienced in life. Look at chapter 2, verse 9. He said, so I became greater than all who had lived in Jerusalem before me, and my wisdom never failed me. Humility is not necessarily a trait of his, but whatever. So he goes, I became the best. Verse 10, anything I wanted, I would take. I denied myself no pleasure. I even found great pleasure in hard work, a reward for all my labors. But as I looked at everything I'd worked so hard to accomplish, it was all so what? Wah, wah, wah. Like chasing the wind. Look at verse 17. He says, so I came to hate life because everything done here under the sun is so troubling. Everything is like chasing the wind. Now, if I say the word Eeyore, do you know the type of person I'm talking about? Okay. Debbie Downer, wet blanket. Just every time they walk in the room, it's like, wah, wah, wah. So it's that person that no matter how good it's going, there's always a negative thing coming behind. Like you could go, man, what a gorgeous day. It'll probably rain. Wasn't that a fantastic meal we just ate? We're going to digest it in 24 hours, and it's really a waste. What a gorgeous sunset. It means we're one day closer to death. Yeah, those are all true, but don't. So it feels a bit like Solomon, honestly. I've had it all. I've done it all. I tried everything. I've come to hate life. No, that's the point. And we chuckle. But I think if we're honest with ourselves, we've all said that at some point. Man, you've rung the proverbial bell of success. Got into school, you're dating the boyfriend or girlfriend you wanted, you got married to the person that you wanted, you retired, you sold the company, you bought the boat, you bought the secondary house, you went on the vacation, you got the season tickets. You are successful, you do it, and you're going, it was good, it was fun, but it did not last. And this is where Solomon is at. And then look at what he really finds out. Look at verse 24. He says, so I decided there's nothing better than to enjoy food and drink and to find satisfaction in work. Then I realized, look at what he realized, that these are pleasures that come from the hand of God. For who can eat or enjoy anything apart from him? Solomon goes, man, the only way I found meaning, purpose, real fulfillment, or when I understand that these things come from the hand of God, and anything apart from God, he goes, is really pointless, is really meaningless. So let me just define meaningless and meaningful for you this way. Meaningless is everything without God. Having everything, just like Solomon, wealth, fame, popularity, relationships, whatever, having everything in life without God, it might bring you temporary happiness, but it doesn't bring you purpose and meaning in your life. if you have everything without God, eventually you will find yourself down a street called meaninglessness. No, meaninglessness without purpose. You get what I'm talking about. You're going to find yourself down that road going, it is without meaning. It doesn't make sense. Now, the opposite, meaningful. Meaningful is having God throughout everything. Having God throughout everything. So Solomon isn't knocking the wealth, the fame, all the things he wanted to. He's going, hey, here's what I've realized. All of that without God is But all of that with God, that's what brings meaning. That's what brings purpose. That's what brings fulfillment. Let me give you a visual illustration this way right here. All right? So let's let these boxes right here represent your life and my life. This is you and this is me. And so in our lives, we fill them, and let's let these ping pong balls represent just things, not necessarily bad things, but just things. Money, work, relationship, education, grocery shopping, going to the gym, going on vacation, going to a Georgia Bulldogs game, going to an Alabama game, going to the Gators game. I want to be an equal opportunity offender this morning, so going to the Texas A&M game. Yes, that was for me personally, not for you. Right, and you just fill your life up. Not necessarily bad things, but you fill your life up with things. Not necessarily bad, but just things in life. And this person does the exact same thing. The exact same, nothing wrong with ping pong balls, but it's food, it's work, it's relationships, it's money, it's football games, it's exercise, it's vacations, it's boats, it's cars, it's whatever it is. We fill our lives up with that and we go, there, I find fulfillment, I find purpose, I find hope. This person, they find meaning. They find great meaning in life. This person, with the exact same things in their life, winds up eventually empty. And there's no meaning. And there's no purpose. And so this person, they wind up looking this way. This person winds up looking this way. And the only difference between the exact same ping pong balls, the exact same things, the difference is what is holding the two individuals' lives together. Right? The difference is what the lives are built on. This one is built on everything without God. This is built on everything but with God at the center of it. And so what Solomon's going, there's nothing inherently wrong with ping pong balls. There's nothing wrong. You fill your life with those things, but if it's not built on anything, eventually it's just going to wind up empty. Solomon goes, but I found the secret. The secret is not less ping pong balls, more ping pong balls. The secret is what is your life built on? The secret is what is holding everything together, meaningless or meaningful. Now, let me just talk about those two things. Let's just talk about meaningless. Meaningless, the word that Solomon uses when he says meaningless, in the original language, it means vapor. It means to vaporize something. It means to just go from the liquid to the gas, and it's just thin air. He goes, it's pointless because you can have everything, but without God, it really is useless. Now, growing up, especially in high school, I had a truck, and I did what a lot of high schoolers did. I spent money on my truck. I had dual exhaust. I had the big tires. I had the fancy stereo system. It's the things you buy when you aren't married and don't have kids. All the cool things, all the cool toys. And I don't know if you're into cars. Now, I had this truck, loved this truck, took it four-wheel, and it was a blast in high school. But like many high schoolers, every now and then you would misplace the key, couldn't find the key. As cool as the truck was, as awesome as the truck was, it was meaningless without the key. I mean, it could be washed, it could be pristine, but it served me no good without the key. Now, you can have everything in life. It can look good, it can sound good, you can go to the right school, drive the right car, wear all the right things. But if you don't have God in your life, it is completely meaningless. Now, maybe you aren't into cars. Maybe you're into fashion. Let me give you this illustration. If you're into fashion. So Friday morning, Brianna left super early and got on an airplane, so I had to get the kids ready to school. Kara, my only girl, she's a second grader. I had to get her to school. So Brianna laid out all her clothes, and so she comes down, and she's got really, really cool little white sneakers on, and she's got pink jean shorts on and a cute little top, and y'all, I did her hair in a ponytail and everything. It was great, and I feel like, man, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm on time. It's looking good. She goes, Dad, I've got a problem. I go, what's that? She goes, my shorts keep falling down. She keeps like pulling them up, and she'd walk, and then she'd pull them back up and walk, and I was like, do you have a belt? She goes, no, I don't have a belt. I was like, well, can you change shorts? No, Mom laid these out. I was like, oh, man, okay. And she goes, maybe I can wear one of your belts. And I was like, I don't know whether to be offended or a compliment. And so I was like, no. And I was like, well, let's go see if Mom has a belt. So I pulled out one of Mom's belts, and I was this close to like taking a knife and poking another hole in the belt, but didn't want Brianna to come back. Anyway, so I was like, I don't know what to do. And so I'm looking around, and then I spot it. And I'm not saying that God shone a bright light on in the closet, but it felt like it. Just kind of, and I'll go. And I found an extra long shoelace. What? You've seen MacGyver, haven't you? That's just one of those moments. And I doubled it up. I doubled it up to make it nice and pretty and cute and wove it through little belt loops, and I tied a beautiful little bow. And she's like, Dad, this is awesome. I was like, yeah, it is. She goes to school, gets back off the bus at 3:15. Y'all, that belt is still on her, still a perfect bow. She goes, Dad, it stayed up all day long. Now, as cute as she was, her little white sneakers, her little pink jean shorts, a little top, and it would have been pointless, it would have been meaningless without the belt. The most important thing to hold everything together. It's the same with your life. You can have everything that looks really nice, really pretty, really amazing on the outside, but without God at the center, it is meaningless. And what's a crazy verse is in verse 10, he said in chapter 2, verse 10, he goes, anything I wanted, I would take. I denied myself no pleasure. Like that's a statement that I don't think anybody in this room can say. Like anything that I wanted. There was nothing that I couldn't buy, couldn't get, nothing, not anything within anything in life I wanted, I got. And at the end, I still go, it's just, it's nice, but it's just that doesn't fulfill me. There is no meaning. You can have everything you could ever want, but without God, it means absolutely nothing. Things fade, money gets spent, jobs come and go, schools eventually end, friends let you down, vacations have to come to an end. Why in the world would you build your life on something that has a shelf life? Like all those things, they have a shelf life. There is an end date. But we build our lives with all of these things, but really nothing substantial holding us together, and we wonder why we're so empty, because ping pong balls don't last. When you build your life on a bunch of ping pong balls, it's nice for the moment, but you eventually wind up empty. And the problem with being a pastor is I have seen so many people like this. And it looks really good from the outside. And you probably know those same people that have everything they could ever want. You're going, well, they seem happy. Well, of course they do, because they've spent a lot of money to seem happy. They're not going to tell you they're not happy. They've spent all this stuff in trying to build an image, but on the inside, they know you're not being honest with you or me. But if it's not built on God, they're going to wind up in the exact same spot as Solomon going, it just doesn't fulfill me. There is no meaning and no purpose. But on the flip side of the coin, look at verse 25. He says, for who can eat or enjoy anything apart from him? All these other, now ping pong balls have great meaning and great purpose when God is at the center and holding everything together. So meaningless means to vaporize. Now, in order to vaporize something, you have to evaporate it. Now, do any of my scientists in here know what is the opposite of evaporate? It is to, okay, like one scientist here. Okay, condensate is the opposite of evaporate. Evaporate means all the moisture gets sucked out, it goes into a vapor. Condensate is when the moisture is so thick and so heavy, it's there on your Coke can or whatever it is, you see it appear. Now, One of my favorite things to do whenever I vacation to the beach is go to my hotel room as soon as we check in and crank the AC down as low as it'll possibly go. Like take it off and just keep going and then leave for the day. And then to come back in, after you've been outside, it's hot, it's humid, and you come back in, and y'all, I know it's a great day when there's condensation on the windows, when you can't see out, and it's just so foggy, and Brianna's like, I need a sweater, and I'm like, I'm in heaven, like this is what I think. What happens is, and the air outside is so thick and so saturated with humidity, when it hits that water, it's there, it's thick. It's the same that it should be with your life and mine. Our life should be so thick and saturated with God that we can't tell God from anything else. God is not just a ping pong ball that we put in our life. God is at the center holding everything together. And so he's not just, a nice idea. I probably need to post a verse on Facebook. I need to go to church this month. I haven't been in a while. I need to say a prayer. It's going, no, God's in everything. God should saturate every single area of my life. That's what I really want you to grasp, is that if you want meaning, if you want purpose, if you want fulfillment, then God should saturate every area of your life. Nothing wrong inherently with ping pong balls. Nothing wrong with being rich, being famous, having all the toys you could ever want, having a great lifestyle, having influence, getting into the right school, getting the right job. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. But all of that without God saturating it, meaningless. But all of that with God, oh my goodness. There's meaning and there's purpose, and this is what Solomon finds out. Everything without God, like a vapor. But God saturating everything, that is what brings meaning and purpose. And so is God in every area of your life? Does he saturate every area of your life? And I saw this played out this week. And my oldest son, Daniel, he started middle school, 6th grade this year on Thursday for the very first time. And so we're switching from that parenting mode. If you've had middle schoolers or high schoolers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We've got to switch from, the authority to more of advising and having him navigate middle school and high school and college and beyond. And so, you do your best as a parent. You pour into him, you pray for him, you take him to church, all that kind of stuff. But at some point, you got to go, hey, man, you're navigating there on your own. You've got to make decisions, and we're here to help. And so we're transitioning, parenting that way. And so Thursday, he started school. Like Tuesday or Wednesday, Brianna takes him there early, and they set up his locker. Now, most of the stories that I tell you about our family or kids or whatever, they're the crazy, sad things, funny things, irritating things that happen. If you will indulge me for like 90 seconds and let me just share a proud dad moment with you and my oldest son. It's one of those deals where you pray for him. Man, I hope he does well. Got to pray for him. And he's getting his locker ready. And then Brianna sends me this picture. Let me just show you this picture that she sent. So that's inside his locker right there. And that's Philippians 4:13 that he writes on his little notepad there. As a 6th grade middle schooler. Now, I get middle schooler, it's 3 long years of ups and downs. But as a dad, I'm going, man, that's a great start. That's all I want for my kids is for God to saturate every area of his life. And you talk about putting a verse in a middle school locker, that's gutsy. I don't know if you've been around middle schoolers lately. Their mouths have not been cleaned up in a while. It's a jungle. They say things that make you turn beet red. And so when his locker opens, every middle schooler walking down that hallway can see Philippians 4:13, can judge, approve, disapprove, whatever they want to do. But for Daniel, it's going, man, no, God's a part of my life. He needs to be a part of my middle school life. So does God saturate every area of your life? Is he inside your locker? Is he inside your cubicle? Is he inside the boardroom? Is he inside the PTA? Is he inside your heart? Is he inside your mind? Is he inside your marriage? Is he inside your checkbook? Is he inside and saturate every single area of your life? Or is he just another ping pong ball that you add in? Because if he's just another ping pong ball that you add into your life and there's nothing holding it, you're going to wake up one day completely empty and meaningless. But if he's not just another ping pong ball, if God is at the center and holds your whole life together, then add all the ping pong balls that you want. at all the good things that you want. Because if God is saturating every single area of your life, you'll be full of meaning and purpose and fulfillment. I wrote down a question for you, and it's a question that I believe if you ask on a daily basis, and some of you might need to ask this on an hourly basis, but if you would ask this question, you can quickly move from an empty, meaningless life to a fulfilled, meaningful life. And here's the question I wrote down. God gave me blank, so what does he want me to do with it? God gave me, and you fill in the blank. God gave me this relationship, this marriage, this family. He gave me this money. He gave me this success. He gave me this boat. He gave me this car. He gave me this house. He gave me this influence. He gave me this skill, this talent, this hobby. God gave me, and you fill in the blank with whatever it is. So how does he want me to use it? What does he want me to do with it? Now, all of a sudden, the ping pong balls aren't just the ping pong balls that you're adding to an empty life. Now you're adding them to a God-saturated life. Going, God, you've given me this. How do I use this for your glory? How do I build this on a life that's centered around you, not on a life that's centered around nothing? God gave you blank. How do you best glorify God with it? How do you use it for his glory and for his honor? So, Solomon goes, man, when it comes to life and success, Solomon goes, I win. But I'm here to tell you, all the things that I've done, all the things that I've built, all the fleet of ships that I own, he goes, it's meaningless, it's pointless, it's unfulfilling without God at the center of it. And I'll finish with this, and I read this quote this week, and I hope this quote rattles around in your heart and in your mind. The quote is this: what do you benefit if you gain the whole world but lose your own soul? That was said by a guy named Jesus. What do you benefit if you gain the whole world but lose your own soul? If you gain every single ping pong ball you could ever want, but you lose your own soul, he goes, what do you get for it? What do you get from it? And maybe our focus has been on collecting the ping pong balls rather than building our heart and our soul off of the things of God. What do you gain as a husband, as a wife, mom, dad, son, daughter, employer, employee, friend, neighbor, if you gain everything in the world, but you lose your own soul? You build your life off of the 70, 80, 90, maybe 100 years on this earth, but you forfeit eternity. What do you gain if you play in the short game, but you forfeit the long game? Because you're going, look, I win for the 70 years, 80 years, 90 years. Look at this. And God's going, yeah, but you lost the long term. You lost eternity because you forfeited your own soul. Fortunately, God in his love and in his wisdom sends the answer for how do we save our own soul, and it's through his son, Jesus. He lived, he died, he buried, he came back to life, and the very simple truth is that if you want to save your soul, all you have to do is place your faith in Jesus. Jesus would say it best himself. He goes, I came to give you life and to give it to you abundantly. So it's not like stop collecting ping pong balls, stop enjoying life. No, enjoy the things of life, but center it on God, not on nothing. Find meaning, find purpose, find fulfillment when it's centered on the things of God, not on nothing. What do you and I benefit? What do we gain if we get everything but lose our own soul? The truth is absolutely nothing. And so my hope and prayer is that as you begin to think about your life and all the things inside of it, relationships, finances, hobbies, vacations, thoughts, minds, all of those things, they would be centered on the things of God. God would saturate every part of your life. Then you would gain the whole world, save your soul, and find a meaningful life. Let me pray for us. With every head bowed and every eye closed, let me just speak to those of you in this room that you are a Christian, and you know Jesus is your Savior, but man, maybe it's been a minute since your life has been centered on the things of God, and God has, rather intentionally or unintentionally, become just another ping pong ball in your life. And if that's you, man, I would just take the moment right now and just say, God, forgive me. God, today I want you to saturate every part of, and you fill in the blank, the things in your life going, God, for far too long, it's been about me and all of these things. And so, Lord, those things on themselves aren't wrong, but God, not having you at the center is. And so today I recenter my life on you. And then let me speak to those of you here in the room, or maybe you're watching online. That, man, that question of what do you get if you gain the whole world but lose your own soul, that's causing a bit of havoc on your mind because you're not quite sure what happens when you die. You've got some thoughts, some ideas, but you're not quite sure. And so you've built your life on the 70, 80, 90, maybe 100 years on this earth. And you're not quite sure what happens in eternity. The good news of Jesus Christ is that you can know without a shadow of a doubt that you will spend eternity in heaven with him. That the brief time you have on this earth that's over in the blink of an eye pales in comparison to the glory of heaven that you get when you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior. As your friend, as a pastor, as just somebody up here on the stage, as someone who's seen people's lives built off of nothing, I cannot beg you enough to build your life on Jesus Christ. And that first and foremost starts in your heart and in your soul. And if you've never trusted in Jesus Christ for the salvation of your soul, do that today. Settle eternity once and for all. Say something like this, mean it from the depths of your heart. Just say, today, Jesus, I trust you. I give you my heart and I give you my soul. Jesus, I believe you died on the cross, that you were buried and you came back to life, and I'm placing my faith in you for my salvation and the forgiveness of my sins. Fill me with your Spirit. Teach me from your word. And Jesus, help me to live for you from this day forward. Father, I pray for all of us, and it is so easy to lose sight of what's important. It is so easy to find ourselves on that street of unfulfillment, of lack of purpose, of having meaningless in our life. Lord, my prayer is that today, that the things of God would saturate our heart and our mind and our soul and would bleed out in every area of our life. Because anything apart from you, God, is meaningless, but everything with you in it brings great meaning and purpose. We love you, Jesus, and ask all these things in your precious and holy name.